Welcome back to our analysis on the art of Donnie Yen's fight choreographies. This is the part 2 of our series. If you haven't watched the part 1, link to the video is in the description. And don't forget to subscribe for more content like this. Last time we went through Donnie Yen's signature moves, his mixed martial art fighting style, what separates him apart from most of the Hong Kong action filmmakers, and his affinity with Bruce Lee. Now, let's dive deeper into the tempo and logic behind his choreographies. Like all Hong Kong action filmmakers, rhythm is an important consideration in Donnie's fight scenes as well. However, he approaches it in quite a different way.
It's like musicians, right. you jam, all these movements, they're really not choreographed.
This is the alleyway fight sequence from SPL Killzone, where Donnie Yen famously choreographed a section of it with complete improvisation. He turned this fight scene into something like a jazz music jamming session, where the two fighters are trying to tap into each other's rhythm before overpowering them. And though his later films may not have this amount of raw improvisations, you can still see traces of them, where many of the actors' kicks and punches miss their target. The constant change in fighting speed is the nuanced difference that separates the best of Donnie Yen's choreographies apart from the work of the other action filmmakers. Because in a real fight, the stronger side will dominate the other fighter, and his accelerating momentum is a big part of that domination. Other choreographers may show us who's the stronger fighter by the character's strength or technique, but their attacking speed almost never changes. In real life, even when two fighters are in a scuffle, a deadlock, they will still be constantly changing their speed to test or confuse the opponent in order to get the upper hand, which is something Donnie Yen is really good at showing. This also echoes a Jeet Kune Do philosophy Bruce Lee has talked about more than 40 years ago in Game of Death.
I'm telling you, it is difficult to have a rehearsed routine to fit in with our own broken rhythm.
In other words, employing the elusiveness of broken rhythm will help the fighter in winning an unpredictable real-life fight. It's about breaking the opponent's rhythm using varying speed, until the opponent has to operate within his tempo and rhythm. In Donnie Yen's choreographies, there's often a sense that one person is faster than the other person who's trying hard to keep up, which is why their movements are not always in sync. He would often dismiss an attack by making a faster and stronger attack, because speed is such a decisive factor on determining who's going to be the winner. Thus, Donnie often uses slow motion to emphasize on the expressive power of an attack, or highlight the strategic micro-nuances during the key moments of a fight, which would be easy to miss if played at normal speed. In these examples, there are a lot of things happening within a few seconds, a lot of quick reactions from both sides while Donnie is still in mid-air, which again highlights the importance of speed. Essentially, Donnie managed to choreograph chaos. Of course, the story setting will affect how modern or traditional the fight moves look, but many of the times, a Donnie Yen fight sequence is like a freestyle MMA match in the ring, which appeals to an era where shows like UFC and WrestleMania are gaining popularity in the contemporary audience. Donnie's fighting style not only contributed to his kick-ass action scenes, but also helps to establish a unique on-screen persona not so commonly seen for a hero figure in Mandarin films. His characters are usually impulsive and ruthless, often being anti-heroes driven by extreme anger towards the bad guy. Or his characters had a dark history of being criminals, assassins, undercovers, and hooligans. So even when he decides to do good and unleash his power, his fighting style is still rough, dirty, violent, and to the point. Because Donnie's priority is to cause pain and take the opponent down in the quickest and hardest way possible. If he can't block out every attack he received, it's okay as long as he hits back harder. In usual fight choreographies, the actors always alternate between using different arms and legs for aesthetical reasons, but Donnie Yen often chooses to attack more than once with the same hand or leg, from the same side and same direction. If a traditional martial art hero usually waits for the opponent to get up before he continues fighting again, Donnie will throw him over with a suplex and kicks him before he even has time to react. In the Chinese action cinema, few heroes will use such a painful technique like joint breaking, but Donnie Yen uses it all the time. Sometimes to force the opponent into submission, other times to cause significant damage to the other person's fighting ability. Donnie also establishes a distinct fighting logic throughout his combat. When he faces a relatively worthy opponent, He will identify the opponent's strength, his main way of attack, and find a way to reduce, disable, and even shut down his opponent's fighting power by attacking his weakest link. And finally, beat the shit out of him with explosive force. It can happen in the form of hitting the opponent's arm muscle, punching his fist that's holding onto a weapon, dislocating his joints, or dragging the opponent to a location where the opponent cannot execute his attacks with full force because of external barriers, which puts him in a place with strategic advantage.
你利用水壓射手嚴東山拳頭嘅力度。
Like Jackie Chan, Donnie also uses objects around him to fight, but he tends to pick hard or sharp objects that can make a real impact, like a stone, a pen, a piece of broken wood, or a piece of broken pottery. His wicked brutality makes sense in a life and death situation in the real world, especially for a character who learned his way of fighting on the street based on the practicality of the techniques. And it's a big reason why many of the films he choreographed are rated R or NC-16. The cherry on top is a signature move he often does when he's almost winning the fight, fist rolling, a sign of playful mockery to his opponent, which showcases his confidence with an extra flair of wild savageness. Lastly, I want to talk about the way Donnie Yen choreographs his weapon fight scenes. He often fights with not only his weapon, but also his body, incorporating other martial art techniques, including and especially kicks. He could be using his weapon to help him with his kicks, using kick to defend the weapon, which he choreographed very often for his actors, using kicks to get his weapon, and even using weapon to shoulder throw the opponent to the ground. The multifunctional purpose of his weapon has been most artistically explored in his choreography for Dragon's final fight, where the intention of his sword wielding alternate between fighting the villain and protecting the lives of his sons, and the function of the sword changes in a split second. To sum it up, the brilliance of Donnie's choreographies goes beyond just the practicality of his fight moves, but it's also about his immense creativity. He alternates freely between different schools of martial art techniques, sometimes even getting an ancient Chinese character to perform a slightly modern martial art move. He likes to push the limit of what human bodies and weapons can do, and makes full use of the capability of one's body to defeat the opponent. Donnie Yen has changed the modern action film industry in Hong Kong and China, but his style of martial art even indirectly influenced the contemporary Japanese cinema, most prominently the Rurouni Kenshin trilogy, where the action director is Kenji Tanigaki, who has been a part of Donnie Yen's stunt team for more than 20 years. Before he returned to Japan, he's the only Japanese member of the Hong Kong Stuntmen Association.
他培养了很多日本的武行，所以呢，我的班底全部也是帮过他。
In the fight scenes of the Rurouni Kenshin trilogy, it's easy to spot a strong influence from Donnie Yen's choreographies where the speed and power is emphasized. From the dynamic of the weapon fighting, the way the characters wield, strike, block, hook, and throw their swords, to the way the characters perform their kicks, the variety of the type of kicks, and the frequency they use them, even though majority of the action scenes are samurai sword fighting. Like Donnie Yen, he also incorporated flying knees, Caesar legs, parkour, different judo and wrestling moves to throw down the opponents, especially with Sanosuke's suplex. Even during the fist fights, the punches are raw and impactful. We see neck choke, elbow strikes, dirty fight tricks like groin strikes and punching an opponent wrapped in clothes. Unlike a usual samurai film, the weapons are used very organically, and the character's physical body literally becomes one with the weapon. The result is a franchise where the action sequences reached a new height for what a samurai sword fight film can possibly be. By July the 27th, 2020, Donnie Yen would already be 57 years old, but he's still one of the most important action stars and action filmmakers of all time. And who knows? Perhaps he's not going to stop kicking ass anytime soon. And we're glad about that.